Belle is here today, looking at the international newspapers. The big subject in a lot of the papers today is that story we've been bringing you here on France 24, the Islamic State organisation's big gain over the weekend in Iraq, Belle.
Yeah, absolutely. And starting in France with Le Monde, a French paper here, which is quite cautious in its headline. It essentially says IS closes in on the strategic town of Ramadi in Iraq. Now, since the front page came out, if you now go onto Le Monde's website, you'll see that it says Ramadi is in the hands of the jihadists. So it's changed its headline in the last few hours, and that kind of reflects the uncertainty of the situation over there. We've got IS saying that it's taken over the town completely. We've got the governor of Anbar province, which is where Ramadi is situated, saying that the town has fallen. And then the Pentagon in the US hasn't yet confirmed any of this. So different sources saying different things. Le Monde goes on to say how strategically important this town is by showing where it is on a map. So you can see there that it borders Syria, it borders Saudi Arabia, and it's got a border with Jordan as well. In March, the Iraqi president said that retaking Anbar province was his main objective after Tikrit. It's not all doom and gloom, though, in that region. We've got to remember that the north of Palmyra, which was taken over by IS, has been fought back, has been wrestled back. So it's not all a bleak picture.
And, of course, on the ground as well, that means thousands of refugees, presumably, trying to leave those areas. You found an article talking about their plight.
Absolutely. So this is an article by the Washington Post, a journalist of theirs in Baghdad, who says that there's hundreds of thousands of these Sunni refugees fleeing their homes, predominantly in the Anbar province, and it talks essentially about Anbar, which is where last night's victory was. It says that these refugees are met with suspicion and hostility. They come to Baghdad hoping to be, welcomed with open arms. But firstly, because they are Sunnis, and of course IS is also an extreme brand of Sunnism, they're suspected of possibly having ties with IS. And then even if it's not that, there also has been, by officials in Baghdad, there's been a link drawn between the number of car bombs in Baghdad and the influx of Sunni refugees. So they're having to hand in their ID cards. They're being sort of stopped from travelling around Baghdad, which is complete with all its ID checkpoints everywhere, which makes life really difficult for them. To give you an idea of the numbers involved, more than 100,000 people left their homes in Anbar in April alone.
OK, another completely different story for you, this time in the States, in fact, that's dominating the front pages.
Absolutely. So this time it's a shootout, quite a strange shootout in Texas, leaving 9 people dead and 18 injured, all of whom were bikers, all motorbike riders. The Dallas Morning News, given that this is a local story for them, leads, of course, with the story and says that it started with a fist fight in a bathroom and obviously escalated pretty miraculously from there at the Twin Peaks restaurant in Waco. So the fight between rival biker gangs, which turned into a sort of essentially a massacre of 9 people in a parking lot. Massacre might be a bit of a large word to use there. But according to a police officer at the scene, it's about 150 to 200 members of these 5 different rival biker gangs that were there. The LA Times has a photo, carries the story there as well. And it talks of one of the local police officers who said they always knew that there was going to be trouble. He is quoted as saying, "What happened here today could have been avoided," because he points the finger at the Twin Peaks restaurant where this happened, and he said that they tried to contact this restaurant before the event that was bringing all these biker gangs together.
Now, from gangs to scams for this next story, this time Pakistan, a company making millions by selling online diplomas. But what is wrong with them is the important question, isn't it?
Well, Stuart, they're not real. That's what's wrong with them.
Quelle surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. So the New York Times, this is a piece, an entirely New York Times piece. So it's an investigative journalist piece by them. And it's investigating a company called Axact, which is based in Pakistan. It looks like a legitimate business. It's got 2,000 employees, a headquarters in Karachi, but the software applications are just a scam for the selling of fake degrees. And it's been making absolute millions by doing that.
OK, Belle, thank you very much. Belle Lupton with the international papers here on France 24. Thanks to Stephen as well, of course.